Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Flames. Today, we are taking a deep dive into free agency, concerns, issues, and what the Flames need to focus on.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Flames, or welcome back. As always, I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and today we're going to kind of take a look at the Flames' to-do list, their priorities, and what they need to avoid like the plague. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If this is your first time here, make sure you're subscribed, you like the show, you comment, you rate it. Let me know what you're thinking. I'd love to hear. And you can find the show wherever you get your favorite podcasts, including YouTube. If you want to see me and my super cool Matthew Tkachuk and Patrice Bergeron Funko Pops along with a giraffe. So yeah, obviously we need to talk about the top priorities and the top three skaters that are a priority. And of course, you know, the top two are Gaudreau and Tkachuk. So we're going to talk about them first, right? With Tkachuk, you have a little bit more wiggle room with his re-signing because he is a restricted free agent, which means that his rights are a little bit more controlled than a UFA. UFA, you have no control over where they go, and with the restricted free agent, you gotta trade offer sheet or completely not extend the qualifying offer. So it's a little bit different, but I do think that we saw a lot of what we could potentially see with Matthews re-signing and negotiations when Brady re-signed and his negotiations and how long they took. They were a little bit of an appetizer for the main meal if you're a Flames fan. So please don't expect anything to get done, immediately on July 13th or the week after or the week after that. I'm probably going to say this negotiations are going to go well into August. So that's just what it is. When you negotiate with one Tkachuk, you negotiate with the whole family, and we're just going to have to see how that goes. I do think that things will get done. Done with the Flames? I don't know. That is a very interesting course that we'll have to run. I truly don't know, and I don't have a good radar or anything like that. I think it's truly going to depend, and we'll find out more as the month of July rolls on, honestly. But rumor has it that the conversations between Gaudreau and the Flames have been ongoing and back and forth these last few weeks, but it's also kind of rumored that Johnny's going to test the water, which I think is completely fair. He just had the best season of his career. He put up incredible numbers. He should get paid, which is why I think everyone is just waiting for Brad Treliving to hand over the blank check and, telling Johnny to name his price because he earned it. He completely earned a pay raise, and the biggest one that you can, possibly give him without putting yourself in a cap crunch situation. I don't think that this means that he's gone by any means. I think if he was gone, then he wouldn't really be in negotiations with the Flames, because I'm going to use the Torrey Krug example. Don Sweeney offered him a contract at the beginning of the season and then iced him out. Didn't follow up. There was no back and forth. There was nothing. And that doesn't seem to be happening here. So I think that things are trending in a more positive direction. But, I think at the end of the day, money kind of rules the decision. But in my heart, I want to say Gaudreau will re-sign. I think that he would be more more likely to resign, knowing that his chances here of winning are higher than they are if he goes back east to a team like Philly or the Devils or New York or the Sabres. Like, it's just not, or even Arizona. I don't see this happening. I don't see something like that really being a thing. I just realized that I have mascara under my eye, so if you're watching, it's not a shadow or a bruise. And then our third skater is the one and only Andrew Giopani, who rounds out your top three. And I think that he will resign here. I do. Again, he is an RFA who is arbitration eligible. For those who don't know what arbitration is, it's a contract dispute where it's settled through the player that's in the team, each proposing a salary, and then like the salary for the upcoming season, and they go through a third party hearing, which is the arbitrator, and sets the player's salary. So I do think that we could see something like that for him, because I know his agent really doesn't want to do a 1 or 2 year deal, which makes sense. But also the Flames need like some flexibility because they're kind of in a tight cap space right now for this season. It gets a little better next season when Lucic's contract comes off the books, but and Sean Monahan. So, I think we're gonna have to truly just see how this plays out. This is going to be one of those off seasons where you have to make sure you are checking your sources, because especially with the Gaudreau nonsense, I do think people are going to try to play the fake account sort of situation that they do every year, But this year with big names, Gaudreau and Tkachuk being out there for the Flames, you need to kind of pay extra attention. There's no way around that, right? But coming up next, it makes complete sense for Andrew Giopani to go through arbitration and really make a case for himself. His agent's a really nice guy. I've talked to him a few times, and the Flames need him. The Flames do need him because he is part of that stability in the top six or even the middle six. And God forbid Johnny walks or Matthew gets traded, you're looking at a severely unstable Flames team, and it will derail any sort of success that this team thinks is going their way. And that's just the honest truth. So again, you're just going to have to wait and see with this, because I don't know. I don't know anything. All we can do is watch the clock and hope for the best. Coming up next, we're going to talk about who we need to move on from and who we got to rip the Band-Aid off sooner rather than later. But first, a word from our friends at Built Bar. Built Bar is a delicious tasting protein bar that I think everyone needs in their life. They are a delicious summer hike fuel or picnic treat that everyone can benefit from. A lot of the bars are low in sugar, low calorie, high in fiber, high in protein. A really great way to get in your sweets without having to pay the price. And what's better than a mud pie bar that's packed with 16 grams of protein and only 150 calories with 8 grams of sugar? It's like your mom baked the most deliciously creamy chocolate mud pie and wrapped it up just for you. Head on over to Built.com today and use promo code LOCKED15 to earn 15% off of your next order at Built.com. And again, that is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Flames. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. There were obvious choices that, who stays, who goes, and just like we talked about in the first segment at the top of the show, your top 3 skaters are right there, right? Those are the guys that are your priority. But this right here is going to maybe ruffle some feathers. I don't think so. I think that this is kind of like common sense. But basically, we're going to talk about like who we need to move on from absolutely immediately and why it makes sense. And the guys that I'm kind of like about, I think it really depends on their overall performance and what the cap space looks like. That is what I think it's truly going to depend on. But first up, we have Tyler Parsons. Tyler Parsons is an RFA who was in the AHL, literally cannot play in Calgary because of his vaccination status. So it does not make sense for the Flames to retain a player that cannot play with the team. Even though he's not playing with the big club, the AHL affiliate team is moving to Calgary. So why would you even try to, you know what I'm saying? It's a waste of money. But that's it is what it is. You move on, and it's also probably better for him to play somewhere where he's going to get significant playing time or more playing time than he's seeing right now. Next up is Trevor Lewis. I never want to see this team take this route ever again. As long as I'm covering the team, I'm very tired of it. But enough of these veteran signings and throwing money at guys in the bottom 6 who do not contribute. At some points in the season, Trevor Lewis was on the second line. Why was he on the second line? I mean, absolutely no sense. I don't care. If you want to sign him to like a lifetime contract behind the bench to be like this hype guy, go ahead. If he's that valuable, do that. Do not pull from the salary cap. He took 14 penalty minutes in 12 games, and it was just consistently making mistake after mistake after mistake when it came to his postseason performances. And his 2 goals don't make up for anything that he did. I really have a hard time making a case for him. But he literally, his career high penalty minutes before this season was 6. A significant jump to 14. Okay? You're undisciplined. You don't care. It's time. You either move on from him or find another free agent to bring in, or you finally let some of the Stockton kids move up, because I do think that there are some players ready to make that jump. And you need to just find someone that's a little bit more effective and someone that can contribute in a way that is not destructive. And same thing here, if you are pulling money away from the players that you can re-sign, like Oliver Shillington, like Andrew Giopani, Matthew Tkachuk, Johnny Gaudreau, to re-sign guys like Trevor Lewis, you're doing your team a disservice. There are players in Stockton who are ready to make the jump to the NHL. Or there are NHL free agents that you can bring in. Calgary's looking real attractive these days to players who want to win. So bring them in. I feel like this isn't rocket science here, but again, I'm not a general manager. So you're taking money away to overpay a bottom pairing defenseman. For what? Truly for what? I think it took him a little bit of time to find his footing. And he once he found it, it was great. But unless he's going to take a pay cut, I do not think that it is worth bringing him back in the slightest. I think it would be better to move on from that. And this next one is another one that just I'm really on the fence about, and that would be Nikita Zadorov. Him and Goodbranson paired together were a disaster at first, and it did not go well. It was quite honestly very difficult to watch at times, and you just kind of knew that it wasn't going to work out. But again, he found his footing. He found what he needed to do. He found his game, found time in the penalty box as well. It's another thing. And laughed all the way to the bank because he made some money. And that's like the biggest thing here. I understand that defensemen are coming at a higher cost, right? You know, when your top pairing is making 10 million, 11 million bucks, like obviously you're going to start seeing your bottom pairing defensemen go up in price as well. And the cap is not built for that right now. It is absolutely not. If you had an extra 5-10 million bucks added to the cap, you absolutely could. But with the flat cap, it's not realistic. It's not realistic to be paying people like that. So coming up next, we are going to wrap up the show looking at a list of free agents and who might be attractive to the Flames and what they might bring. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed and following the show wherever you get your favorite podcasts. So I'm going to share the screen right now because we are going to take a peek at free agents. Number one, obviously, some of these guys are not going to be realistic here, like Malkin, Subban, Giroux, and Phil Kessel, Patrick Laine, Chris Letang. Like, those guys are going to want serious money. Do you know what the Flames don't have? Serious money. I've heard this Matthew Tkachuk guy is pretty good. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about him. Marc-Andre's don't need a goalie. Patrice Bergeron is not playing for another team. He is either retiring or he's going to re-sign with the Bruins. Who's this Johnny Gaudreau character? 5'9", undersized. I don't think he's going to do too well. Johnny Boychuk technically retired. Louis Eriksson is not going to. No. Philip Forsberg is a name that the Flames need to go after if Gaudreau moves on. I think Philip Forsberg is a fantastic player and just that absolute power shot that the Flames could really benefit from. Andrew Ladd, absolutely not. Palat will probably re-sign in Tampa. Max Domi, there's no need for xenophobes on my team. PLD, again, restricted free agent, so I don't know. That's not going to happen. Riley Smith is a guy that the Flames really should have gone after at the trade deadline, but if they can get him for nothing at, during free agency, I think that would be great. He's, a 20 goal scorer when he's healthy, and I think that would just be a great addition to that middle six or even bottom six, if, depending on how he's playing. Kadri is not going to come to the Flames because, again, he is going to get paid. Ryan Strohm, I think he is moving on from New York, but I don't think the Flames are going to pursue that. The Flames will, they could pursue John Klingberg, but I don't know. That's just like one of those situations if they do decide to, move on from one of their better defensemen like Oliver Shillington. But again, you're going to have to pay decent money there. And right now the Flames don't exactly have money to just throw around. And, David Perron would be incredible, but no. Paul Stastny is, he's an older guy, but he still produces. He still produces and would provide depth down the middle. He would absolutely provide depth down the center, and I wouldn't hate that. I really wouldn't hate that. Andrew Kopp, I think, is going to be incredibly overpaid this offseason, or where he goes. So that would be interesting. I don't think that it's worth overpaying a guy who's had like one good season. Sorry. Kirby Talk. Okay, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he's UFA, or RFA rather. Jay Beagle, no. Frank Vitrano, another guy that's going to get overpaid because he had a great postseason. An excellent pickup for the Rangers at the trade deadline, though. Love me some Frankie V. We know what the extent of Braden Holtby's injury was, so I don't think that teams are really going to be taking a chance on him. I don't think that that's going to be happening. Jorn Kron, I do think that he has, again, a good defensive game that he did provide to the Flames, but I think it's really going to depend on what cap space looks like. James Neal is never seeing ice time in the NHL again. Simple as that. But, Tyler Pitlick, because that went so well the first time. Let's do that again. Zach Aston Reese would be a good depth add. I wouldn't hate that. I have a soft spot for him because that postseason that he had, that Tom Wilson knocked him out and had to get his jaw wired shut. Yeah. I always have a soft spot for him. Troy Stetcher. I don't think that's going to happen. Nola Chari. Be a fine depth player, I guess. But yeah, no, I don't really see if the Flames sign, they would not, but if they sign Evander Kane, I will stop hosting this show. I have no interest in covering him. Andre Kasha, he's an RFA, but again, he is, that poor guy, his career is probably going to end in the next 3 years because of the amount of concussions he's had. I believe Curtis Lazar is a free agent as well. And again, that would be another nice depth player for the Flames. I think that he's fun to watch. And he's a decent depth player that at least contributes to something and isn't a 40-year-old washed up Stanley Cup winner from the early 2000s or 2010s, right? Brett Ritchie, man, move on from him. Unless you truly need someone to skate around and throw hits. I don't see the point. Adam Rozica, again, Flames will absolutely re-sign him. They would be ridiculous not to. And Mason Marchman, his sister's really good. She plays for the Connecticut Whale and the PHF and is the best. I think she was the top scorer in the league. Trevor Lewis, move on. Sorry. Let's see. Connor Carrick, again, just one of those people that hockey Twitter hyped up in their parasocial relationship, and not a good player. Joe Thornton, no. Zach Ronaldo, can't play in Canada. And yeah, the more that I scroll down this list, the more I realize it's just kind of players that aren't exactly, at the top of the list. Zach Senyshyn, that was drafted over Matt Barzal, I believe, and Thomas Chabot. Bruins really did that 2015 draft well. and I will never let them forget it. Brian Boyle. I'm pretty sure he'll retire. Zane McIntyre. He was with Vancouver. Mark Jankowski, former Flame. Again, another player that is probably going to fade into the background. I really don't think. Oh, Anton Bleed is a UFA. Anton Bleed. Give me Anton Bleed, okay? I think the Flames would benefit incredibly well from him. He is a player who has developed in Providence under Jay Leach, who is a fantastic with player development, and then he's played a few games in the NHL. I believe his first season was cut short. His first and second season were cut short because of injury, but I really like what you see from him. He's a big dude. He is someone who isn't afraid to play down the corners. He's not afraid to go after the puck, and I really like him. 27 years old. I think that he would be really a nice depth for the Flames. I would really, really like to see that. I'm just scrolling through this list here and just trying to see if there's anyone else that I could see the Flames adding, or Flames or players that I can add commentary to. But Kyle Keyser, okay, he's an RFA. But again, I think that there's really not much left that the Flames can work. I mean, there's plenty they can work with. What am I saying? But I think that the Flames have enough depth in their own prospect pool, along with the free agents out there, to get this done. I think they are capable of replicating last season and hopefully taking a deeper run in the playoffs. That would be, the ultimate goal, and the ultimate goal is to also win a Stanley Cup. And that window is wide open for them. So I'm not too worried. You shouldn't be worried either. And that's all I have to say on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I'm Jess Belmosto. You can find me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Would love to hear from you in the comments, and we will chat tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye.